Hello, everyone. Welcome to this afternoon's presentation, A New Reality, Commercial Applications of 360-Degree and VR Video. My name is Amy Tinker. I'm an interactive producer at Happy Finish, who are based in London. I'm here today with my colleague, Jamie, who is our immersive capture lead. Today we're going to talk you through some of our most recent VR projects and how we incorporate the Adobe Creative Cloud products into these through the use of Photoshop, After Effects, and Premiere Pro. So who are Happy Finish? Happy Finish are a global creative production company who are based in London. We also have offices in Portland in the United States, Mumbai, India, and Shanghai, China. We currently have around 100 full-time employees globally. Over the last 12 years, we've gained 1,500 clients across the 3 continents. And 5 years ago, we moved into, Happy Finish stepped into the world of virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality. Today, many brands are inviting their customers to experience visual content through the use of VR, AR, and MR. And today we're going to talk to you about some of our most recent projects and how we incorporate Adobe into these. I'm now going to pass you to Jamie, who's going to kickstart this off.
Cool. Hi everyone. As Amy mentioned, I have been at Happy Finish about 2.5 years, and in that time I've worked on about 50 or so 360 video projects, and I want to talk to you about a few of them today that I've worked on and the rest of the team at Happy Finish. We've sort of picked ones that we feel where Adobe really helped us, and to show a bit of the narrative of how we came from a stills house into an interactive production house. The first project I'm going to talk to you about is with Tate in London. So it was for the George O'Keefe exhibition, which was the largest exhibition of George O'Keefe's work outside New Mexico. So they asked us to produce a 3-minute 360 video, which we used the narration from some archive audio, and then shot a series of rooms of her places of work and her home. I'll show you a quick video of this because it did really well. To date, the O'Keefe video has got around 7 million views. So Tate commissioned us to do another 2 360 videos, which was another American artist, Robert Rauschenberg, and British artist, David Hockney. So I've got a little clip for you here. One moment. There we go. Sorry, jumped ahead there. Sorry, clearly finding the mouse is the hardest bit. Cool, okay. So unfortunately, you're just going to have to imagine what this piece was like. I'm going to have to discuss how we retouched it first, and maybe we'll come back to the trailer. So basically, some of these things you might be familiar with. This is a cube map, which has come out of After Effects. And this is one of our artists, Sophie Morrison, who's a retoucher, but has now moved into retouching in 360. So we used After Effects and Photoshop, essentially to take the stitched image and give it a complete rehaul. Sorry, I'll just hit play there. Cool, so what you'll see here is this isn't just clean up in the sense of getting rid of a tripod, as you see in a lot of 360 stuff. This is a complete run through and checking in any stitch artifacts, any small little issues. The retouchers at Happy Finish have been working for decades in Photoshop and have been working on huge billboards, images of a really large size. So their attention to detail comes in handy, really. I suppose one of the challenges of doing 360 video for brands, especially high-end brands like fashion, sports, or automotive, is we can't really use the excuse that 360 video isn't quite ready yet, like other cameras, other camera-based formats are. We kind of just have to make sure it looks good regardless. And this is one of the ways we do it. Cool, so this is obviously sped up on a cube map, and then towards the end, it's gone back into After Effects to be converted back into a lat long. The grade has been, referenced from some of O'Keefe's work, but what you will notice, which I'll talk about a little bit, is obviously a huge advantage of doing this is that it's essentially a still. It's a locked-off shot in a room with no moving objects. So the next project I talk about will address that a little bit more. And there's the finished product. Cool, so moving away from Tate, if the slides will let me. Cool, we're moving on to Ted Baker, which you may have heard of. They're a fashion brand from the UK. And they wanted to do a shoppable lookbook, essentially, in 360. So this time we didn't want to go ahead with like a 360 rig at the time. We wanted to use stills cameras, which we can shoot stills and video on, and the retouchers who'd previously worked with Ted Baker on their other campaigns could also work in 360. So this was shot nodally in a studio, which means it's shot in wedges, which I'll show you a little trailer and then I'll be able to explain it. It's just the trailers I seem to be having problems with. 1 minute. Sorry, 1 second, let me reset this. Cool, that seems to work.
Trying to keep up with the bakers. Everyone's out now that it's spring, looking for a scandal in everything. Trying to keep up with the bakers, keeping up with the bakers. The envy of all the neighbors, getting overdosed on the bakers. Oh, trying to keep up with the bakers.
Cool, so you get the idea there. As you'll see, a lot of the image is still and static, as you would see from a fashion piece, but we wanted to include some moving elements, so in the shoppable experience, there's a few little Easter eggs in there. So I will just show you. So here was the set. It was in Kiev in Ukraine, and obviously you'll notice it's a 2D set, essentially, so you've got lots of crew members standing in the way. So what we did is we shot in these wedges and changed the looks, changed the models, and it gave us more sort of, retail space, I guess, in the image. And we've got this. So this is a really rough sort of previs, just to explain sort of how we went about it. And you'll see this is a shot from the camera in the blue screen studio. And if I spin around, you'll see lots of miserable crew members like myself standing there, and they get replaced with the other side of the 360. This was actually done by one of our artists, I believe, on a flight back on a laptop. So that sort of shows you how these tools between After Effects and Photoshop are very quick, very agile, and you're able to get quick results, even just for previs, for client review. So the moving elements haven't been comped in here. Cool. And it's just a really rough sky place. So this is an example of sort of moving away from just stills, adding in some moving elements. I've got one more project I want to share with you, which sort of goes round the houses back to print. Oh, actually, before I do that, let me show you how the sequence came together. So this is the online shoppable experience. It was actually a web-based experience, but we are working with Ted to do a web VR version very shortly.
Trying to keep up with the bakers. Everyone's out now that it's spring, looking for a scandal in everything. Trying to keep up with the bakers, keeping up with the bakers. The envy of all the neighbors, getting all the gossip on the bakers.
Right, so moving on back to print. So this piece, the third piece I want to talk to you about was for a UK magazine, Garage Mag, and it's to feature a clothing line from Burberry. So what you see here is a full spread that came from a 360 video. It's been distorted, retouched, all in Photoshop, and then it's made it to print. You can't quite see it here, but there's actually a little thing you can scan in the bottom right corner that takes from the app to a 360 video of this piece. This was shot in Stonehenge in the UK, and then it was also shot in a studio with some of the models and the different looks. And these have been composited together, so here's another full-res example of one of those spreads. So yeah, as I said, when you scan this, it will take you to the 360 video experience, which is quite a nice way for magazines to sort of take advantage of the new medium, and it also helps them link back to some of their digital content. I've got a short trailer. Cool. Okay, great. I'm going to hand you back over to Amy. I just wanted to give you an overview of some of our stills and sort of retouch-based 360 projects. Amy's going to talk to you more about some of our larger 360 video projects that involve a few more team members and how the Adobe tools help with that.
Okay, so this project was also known as Tame the Track, which was for Ford Motor Company. This year, Ford decided that they wanted to reach out to gamers at the annual Gamescom event in Germany in Cologne. The idea was that gamers were going to go to the event, go to the Ford stand and race against each other at playing the Forza Xbox game. And in order to give them the best chance at winning the best time, they wanted to create a virtual reality experience of a real-life lap time, which we went and shot at Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. Here's a quick trailer of what we created.
Are you ready? Let's begin. Managed to set a lap time of 2:53.8. You think you have what it takes to beat him? Apply what you learn here, and I'm sure you'll be rapid. Right. It's time for you to prove yourself. Good luck on the track.
So just a bit of an overview of how we work at Happy Finish in post-production. Once we've captured the footage on set, we tend to come back and perform a rough stitch on everything. This allows our clients to sort of see what we've shot through the 4 camera eyes together and enables us to picture lock the experience and create a final edit. The reason we do this first is because final stitches and cleaning of the plates can be quite time consuming, so we only really ever want to fully stitch and clean plates for the footage that we're actually going to use in the experience. After this is done, you can see that the Adobe sort of workflow really comes into play. And for this project, we were able to use Photoshop for our image grading, Premiere Pro for our editing, and After Effects for all of our graphics and sort of final effects on top of the footage. I just wanted to quickly show you some reference pictures of what we were trying to achieve within this piece. It was very important that this piece sort of reached out to gamers as much as possible, so we used the Forza game as reference for ourselves. You can see here that we have many different graphics, the image grades on the footage, the colors are really, really quite strong. And here we also needed to comp in some more gaming footage to sort of take people into different sort of weather conditions throughout the piece. We found in this project that there were 3 key tools that Adobe provide that really helped us with our workflow in post-production. The first was the Adobe Dynamic Link Server. This allows us to link our Premiere Pro project to our After Effects project, meaning that if we ever need any edit changes throughout the post-production process, we can do this without having to stop our graphics operators and our effects editors. The second really useful tool is Adobe's proxy workflow. When we go on set, we tend to shoot in really large EXR files that have a lot of information within them. So when we come back to the studio, it's often quite hard to edit on such big files. Adobe's proxy workflow allows us to see a low-res preview of these so that we can edit in real time and save a lot more time when it comes to rendering. Adobe also offer the VR video display mode, which allows our editors to view footage through a head-mounted display on a screen. This stops them from needing to put on a headset every time we need to make edit changes or graphics changes throughout post-production. And these are just a few pictures from the experience. It was a really, really big hit at the Gamescom event in Germany this year, and a few of the gamers even managed to beat the real-life lap time when playing on the Forza game, so it was a huge success overall. We're now going to talk to you a bit about how we see VR going in the future. I'm just going to pass you back to Jamie to introduce this project.
Cool. So I just want to talk to you about one more project that's a little different to everything else. So obviously at Happy Finish, it's not just about projects that are solely 360 video or images. Sometimes they cross into different mediums as well. So what we have here was released last month in the Shard. So it's on the 72nd floor. It's a moving platform that visitors can come in, take a seat on, put on a headset, and then they ride like a helter-skelter all the way down the Shard. So this was built in CG in a game engine, but obviously you have the whole skyline of London which needed to be captured and placed in the engine as a skybox. Here's a little one behind-the-scenes shot of how this was done by the camera team. So it's with a very large crane pointing a camera out of the gaps that the Shard has, of the 72nd floor, and essentially stitching a 360 gigapixel to be placed in. And this was retouched, cleaned up, and graded, and placed within the experience. I'm going to show you a quick trailer of how well that project's done. But this just gives you an insight of sort of where we're looking forward. And along with Adobe, we're looking into volumetric capture, depth capture. So this sort of implementation into engines becomes even easier. Cool, thank you very much for listening. I hope that gave you a brief overview of what we do. We'll be around here for a while afterwards if anyone wants to have any questions. Thank you very much.